There's a lot we may lose when older loved ones pass away. Among them are their life stories and historical perspectives. That's why making the most of the time we have with those relatives while they're still here can benefit future generations. Sam, what do you think happens when we miss the opportunities to gather these stories?
Oh my gosh, I have always called our elderly the living, breathing history books of society. And you just can't wait till after that funeral to realize that you didn't take the time to listen to the stories. Because when one of those elderly pass without being read, we're not losing just a person, we're losing a library of stories. And we're already at an odds because we've traveled so far away from our families and people live so far apart that you see a loss of empathy and connection with our older community. Every caregiver I ever hire, I usually their basis comes back to taking care of their grandparents or being around their grandparents and loving them. And so listening to those stories and learning your family history, learning where you're from is so vitally important to truly just being a good human being, I think.
You know what I found myself missing when I lost my mom was her voice, the sound of her voice.
Yeah.
And I think if I could have just had a tape recorder, if I'd had the presence of mind to do that and listen to her history, she wrote everything down and we have pictures, but somehow the voice was missing. The other thing I thought about was my niece and nephew gave my sister a Christmas present, and that Christmas present was 50 questions that they wanted her to answer. And it was emotional memories and history. And I'm gonna go today and say, you've written all the answers down, but put it in a recording.
Yes.
So that they can listen to you share that information.
There's a lot of regret that people have, especially as they age, thinking about maybe how they treated their parents or they didn't gather enough information. And so just understand this, that if you feel your family's not listening to you, that you can document your life story in different ways, even in writing it on little notes, like write a little something and put it into a memory jar. There's all different things that you can do. Just add little memories or your favorite sayings so they can look at that later and gift it to them at Christmas.
Well, how many times I'd find it, it's like, man, I wish I remember that recipe. How my mom used to make.
Absolutely.
We're like, do you remember how Aunt Jean did the chili? Because I don't.
My mom was like the historian of the family. She wasn't just the historian of the family, she was the historian of the town. So she knew all the ins and outs and who was married to who and whose kid was whose. And so my mom wouldn't record things. I bought her recorders, I tried everything. So when she was diagnosed and I knew she was terminal, every voicemail, and I would intentionally not answer so she would leave voicemails, so I saved them.
And then include your kids. Share memories of when they were babies and what they did so that they can share it with their children or maybe see similarities in their children to how they were as children.